My name is Jose Vargas, and I am on a mission to help you create breakthroughs in your personal and professional life so that you can grow and lead your life with excellence. Welcome to the Jose Vargas Show. This podcast was created for leaders to help leaders strategize to create breakthroughs so that you can lead yourself and others effectively. I am your host, Jose Vargas. Thank you for listening. Today we have a very special guest, and you are in for a treat. We just literally had an amazing conversation, just empowering people online, and I'm excited to have him here. He is a new friend of mine. I call him Coach Bruce. And Coach, welcome to the Jose Vargas Show.
Well, thank you so much, Jose. I appreciate the invite. I'm humbled. As we used to say back in the day, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save everybody.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for being here today. You know, you obviously know what we're doing. We want to help leaders create breakthroughs, strategize in life, and so that they can lead themselves and other people effectively. So I want to get right to it, and I want to ask you this: what do you believe is the key to leading a life worth following?
Well, being the example, is an assignment. It's a responsibility, and it's not easy. When a leader has to be the example, because you got to ask yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror, you say to yourself, "Would you follow you?"
Come on.
And so once you ask that question, then you say, you know what, maybe I need to work on this and work on that, because we duplicate, whatever our energy level is. We duplicate whatever our level of concern about a situation is. Like, for instance, my family depends on me a lot. And we talked about this in our previous conversation about when people always ask you to do something. Why are they always asking you to do it?
That was powerful.
And see, I have two daughters and a wife.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any sons, and the only son I have is my grandson. And so I would always ask myself, why do they keep asking me? Why do they want me to put my stamp on it? Why do they always say, well, go ask daddy? Did you ask your dad? And I'm like, well, how come they can't ask you? But then I realized, the reason why they're asking me is because I'm the leader.
That's right.
And I was trying to give that leadership away. I was trying to say, well, you know what? They can go ask somebody else. Why are they always asking me? Well, they ask you because they know, number one, they can depend on you. Okay? You've already proven yourself as dependable. All right. And so that leader, if he wants his people to be dependable, then he has to be dependable. If he wants them to be on time, he has to be on time.
That's right.
All right. You can't have a meeting and everybody's seated down and they're waiting for you to, well, where's the boss at? Well, where is he? They're going to start being lax and they go to the meeting as well.
That's right.
Okay. So the biggest thing about leadership, I think, is if you want to mentor, there's a difference between mentoring and coaching. All right. Mentoring is me explaining or sharing my experience. I've been through that, so I can talk to you about it. My mom always said, don't tell me that you know how I feel if you never had cancer.
Right.
See, my mom had cancer. She's like, don't tell me you know how I feel. So she could mentor because she had the experience. Now, coaching is you trying to bring the best out of someone. You're not telling them what to do. You're asking questions to help them understand what they should be doing.
Yes.
And so a leader has to understand also the difference between mentoring and coaching. Big difference.
That's good. I like what you said. Can you just share a little bit on that story about your wife and the 7-Up cake? Because I like a sentence that you said there, and that was a powerful statement. Can you just share with our audience that story as it relates to what you were just saying?
Yeah. If being a leader, oftentimes you get opportunities to be a leader. And at times, if you're not paying attention, you may miss the opportunity.
Mm.
And the opportunity at times looks like, why do they keep asking me to do that? That's an opportunity for you to do what you do best. Okay. When a person understands their purpose, and usually you'll find that your purpose is something that you do easily and with little effort, but others it's hard and it takes a lot of effort. Whenever you're doing something that takes a lot of effort, you don't want to be there, you don't love what you're doing, that's not your purpose. All right. But if it's something that you do, like my wife, she cooks 7-Up cakes, right? And every time we go to a family outing, whether it's a Christmas or New Year's or Thanksgiving, they always give my wife the assignment of what? The 7-Up cake. And she's like, why do you keep asking me? Well, one thing I didn't share earlier about the 7-Up cake is this. My wife got the recipe from an older sister that passed away that grew up in Monroe, Louisiana.
Mm.
All the sisters got the recipe handwritten, and they refused to rewrite it because they wanted that recipe to be original. My wife kept the recipe. She's the only one that can go down the line in that recipe and get it right. The other ones, they'll do the same thing, the same exact ingredients, and can't get it right. Okay? Wow. And so you'll find that your purpose is usually locked into something that you do naturally, something that you do with little effort, and you'll find that your opportunities come when people continue to ask you to do it. Just, what you do is for 30 days, just say, I'm going to write down every time someone asks me to do something.
Man, that's good. They come to you
say, let me see when it's going to come again. 2 weeks later, somebody else is asking you the same thing. They're asking the same request, but it's come from a different person. It's like, okay, now indeed, I'm going to do the same thing. You write it down. You say, you know what? That just might be my assignment.
Wow. I love that. And you said a statement. You said, they keep asking, what was it? You said they keep asking me, or if they're asking you for the same thing, is because you are the only one who can solve their problem.
You're the one that does it best. You're the one they can rely on. And they know every time you bring that cake, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
There's no bad cakes and no, every now and then I get it right. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
They're asking you because you have that talent. You got that skill level.
Yeah. Yeah. So now can you tell us, Coach Bruce, tell us who you are, where you come from, and just a little bit about yourself and your story.
Well, I'm born and raised, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Born on Thanksgiving Day in 62. My birthday is the 26th and the year is 62. So turn it around, right?
Wow.
I was born in Philadelphia, in North Philadelphia, right around, if anybody's familiar with 33rd and Girard, it's where there's a bridge, 76 goes underneath it. We lived on one side, down the street from the railroad track, and the other side was where the zoo was.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I grew up with a giant in my life, and that giant and that challenge I had in my life was stuttering. And it was a difficult time because all the other kids, they spoke so fluently and they had conversations. I would stand there and I would be there physically, but I wouldn't take part because I was afraid to speak. The one letter that I really struggled with was the letter W. So any word that started with W, I would have a problem with. If it was what, where, wonderful, when, it would come out whoa. And so I didn't go on my high school prom in 1980. Mind you, graduated 24th in the class. So it wasn't like I was not smart where the girl wouldn't go out with me. I was number 1 on the track and field team, number 1 in the public league for the mile and 2 mile. It wasn't like I didn't have any athletic ability. The reason why is I never asked. I never asked. And the reason why I didn't ask because I was fearful that if I would literally have to start in first period class asking the question. Maybe by third period class, I would have got out, would you go me on the prom? So I didn't go. So here's what I did. My senior year, I knew I had to fight this giant called stuttering, or I just wouldn't be able to communicate. I wouldn't be able to think that. I mean, I won everywhere else, in the classroom, on the track, but I couldn't win at communicating.
Mm.
So what I did was every time I got a textbook in my senior year and going into my freshman year of college, I would read out loud. I would read out loud. So number one, I could hear myself. And I would get confidence from hearing myself speak without stuttering. And then I would pronounce the word phonetically correct. Pronunciation, wonderful. And I would pronounce them like over pronounce them almost, so I can hear myself say it right until I was able to beat that giant. So wow. Reading, even today, I love to read out loud so I can reinforce whenever the giant tries to show back up, okay?
Right, wow.
And the amazing thing is, if you heard the young girl who spoke, Amanda Gorham, at the inauguration for President Biden, 22 years old, great psalmist, loves to quote poems.
Yes.
Poet.
Yeah.
She had a stuttering problem. And her problem was the letter R. She couldn't get R out. Now, if you look at that poem, numerous times she said, rise up, rise up. And it's because she wants to show that giant, you're not going to kill me, rise up. It was the letter R. She would, anything with R, she would,
Mm.
The amazing thing is this. What I found is most of the time, the thing that you struggle with the most, that's challenging you the most, ends up being your lane.
Mm.
Joe Biden, he stuttered as well.
Mm.
Steve Harvey stuttered as well. All these people stuttered, but yet they end up doing things that they feared or paralyzed them. Mm. But once they overcame it, now here it is, it became their purpose and their life's goal.
Mm. Wow.
Now, that's about it. But I wrote a book called Mama Said. Mom was my first coach, my first encourager, raised myself and my brother as a single mom after mom and dad got a divorce when I was roughly 8 years old. My brother's 3 years older than me. And mom died 2014. And when she passed away, oftentimes I would dream and hear her saying these different quotes, you know, and I said, why these quotes keep coming back? And they just like night after night after night. And so what I did was, you know what, I'm gonna start writing them down. So I started to write the poem, the one statements that she would, like for instance, one of the ones that she used on my daughters is, love don't pay the bills.
Yeah.
Look, you're gonna have to rip those sheets off and get stuff out of bed and go to work. That's right? And so I wrote a book called Mama Said, 100 Life Guiding Quotes from a Wise Mother. Mm. And I started doing conference calls every Monday in 2015. I did about 80, 85 of those conference calls. And then my daughter told me, Daddy, you need to go on social media with that and you have a larger crowd. Because I was getting maybe 15, on a good day, 20 folks on the conference call. Every Monday morning, I would take a Mama Said and I would expound on it and, you know, do some coaching and some uplift using the Mama Said. You know, and when I went on Instagram and I went on Facebook, immediately on Facebook, I went from 0 to 5,000 followers just like that on doing Mama Says. Wow. Mama said this, Mama said that, Mama said. Wow. And then went on Instagram and went from 0 to 3,000. So, and now we're doing Cup of Mo, which as you see behind me, Cup of Mo not only means cup of motivation, it also means cup of mom. Mom was my motivation.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I love to find people who don't understand their value and their significance. I had a nephew, and my nephew committed suicide.
Mm.
And I strongly believe that the only time someone does that to themselves is when they don't understand their value and significance. If they understand where they fit in, if they understand exactly why they're here, okay? Why am I here? Okay. And once you understand what your why is, then you begin to understand that, okay, I have value as well. And so I don't think someone would kill something that they value. I mean, uh, when a man gets a new, let's just say a new Lexus. I have one in the front of my computer, the LS 500. It's every bit of 85,000 cash on the low side.
On the low side.
On the low side. And if I had that in my driveway, I wouldn't throw rocks at it
Right.
because I value it.
That's right.
You know, I wouldn't let anybody flatten the tires and get away with it because I value it.
Protect what you value.
Yeah. And so anyone who doesn't understand their value and significance, that's when they think it's trash. I throw it away.
Wow.
But if I understand it, I'm going to protect it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to work on it daily. That's where personal development comes. If I love myself, I'll work on myself.
That's right.
You know, if I love myself, I'm going to protect what I believe is important to me. That is my purpose and why I'm here.
Mm.
Well, those who want to understand their significance. And the 4 keys to understanding your value and significance is, what is my purpose? What is my passion? What is my potential? And then performance. Performance is the doing.
Right.
Everything else is the plan, but performance is the doing. So, yeah. So you got to be
like the discovery, the planning, and the doing.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we can dream, but I like how one preacher said, you're going to have to wake up and do something.
That's right.
Lord, give me wise words to say, because people are waiting to hear what I have to say.
Wow, that's good.
They're waiting. And so whether it's 500, I don't care what number it is, my whole focus is on impact and changing lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did someone hear something that I said that transformed their lives, make them think differently, make them think good about themselves? Not, well, I don't understand my value, therefore, why am I here? Well, therefore, maybe I don't supposed to be here. It all goes back, I'm telling you, until you asked, I wasn't going to say anything, but everything that I do always goes back to my nephew. I don't want anyone else to do that to themselves.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because Miles Monroe said it very eloquently. He said, there are people who could have sung a song, written a book, put art on a canvas, but they took it to the grave. And he said, the grave is the richest place on earth. That's right. Not the diamond mines in South Africa or the oil refineries in Iran, or, you know, the reserves that, the richest place is in the grave. So the social media platform went to a whole new level and a whole, a deeper degree of importance when COVID-19 came about. Now I couldn't do the BU conferences. I couldn't do open air conferences. I couldn't even do one-on-ones at the coffee shop. You know what I mean? Right. So I had to understand the importance of.
Is that when? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Yes. Is that when you pivoted to a Cup of Mo?
That's when I pivoted to Cup of.
Wow, that's
Cup
amazing.
of Mo was always the name of the company.
Right.
But the strategy and how I did it, I had to pivot, because if I didn't, I had nobody to talk to.
That's right. So let me ask you this. So what are a few resources that you would recommend to someone looking to become a better leader?
Well, I knew I had to work on myself in reference to understanding, coaching, and mentoring, and I had to get around other people like myself. Number one, there it is, get around other people that are doing what you want to do. So this past year, I became a certified coach, trainer, and speaker through the John C. Maxwell program. Get around other people that are doing what you want to do. Ask questions. Be humble enough to sit at somebody else's feet and say, hey, look, I want to do what you're doing. I may not want to do it like you're doing it, but, I love the industry. Then you're going to have to, at times spend some money. You know what I mean? What books are you buying? What does your library look like?
Right.
If I can look at your library,
Right.
I can tell where your focus is. I can tell where your heart is. I can tell how deep you're into it or not. And so I knew I had to go to another level. I knew that John Maxwell was a man that was really sold out on leadership, really sold out on helping people, built a worldwide organization. I mean, and he was bold enough. Watch this now. Mm-hmm. He was bold enough to give up pastoring one of the largest churches in California to start an organization where people thought he left the church. That's he didn't leave the church. God just took him to a whole new level.
That's right.
Coming from a different angle, and the guy, exploded.
Yeah.
All right. And so get around people that are doing what you're doing, ask questions. Number 2, spend some money on what you're trying to do. You're going to have to invest in yourself. You got to invest time, and you got to invest development. And sometimes development takes money.
That's
which
right.
means you may have to get around, a person like myself or a person like Jose who can coach you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Keep you honest about what you're trying to do. You need accountability partners. You know what I mean? And so those things are very, very important. So once I finished doing the training with John C. Maxwell, then I started to put together, and I haven't finished yet, honestly, put together programs, because when you look at the vision for Couple Mo, we want to build and design sustainable programs that help people understand their value and significance so they can impact their world in their generation and solve world problems.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And so I'm slowly but surely putting together a little team, you know what I mean, of people of like heart and minds so that we can impact our world.
Yes.
And guess what? Under the radar, develop leaders for the next 30 years.
Yes. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce, where can people find you?
Well, on Instagram, you can find me at A Cup of Mo. You can find me on Facebook on A Cup of Mo as well. And of course, my website is www.acupofmo.com.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate your time. It was fun today.
Thank you more, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Listen, friends, it takes time and it takes work, but together we can become a leader worth following. You don't have to remain stuck. You don't have to put up a front, but you can take actionable, practical steps to get breakthroughs and not just accept your life, but lead your life towards excellence and towards impact. Because isn't that what we want? We want to have impact in this world, and we want to impact the people in our lives. Thank you for joining me today. Please share this podcast with another leader, and I'll see you soon.